challenges, in our opinion, seem to have overwhelmed our security institutions.
The governors are supposed to be the state security officers of their state.
There is need for us to at least engage the traditional rulers.
We need to do something about our porous borders.
We have to own it from the unit level to the ward level to the local government to state.
Mr. President, the importance of today for us is for us to take action.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
We will do our very best to see what can be done.
Senate committee promises support for Federal Ministry of Works to complete projects.
On daily basis, these workers are recruited at the gate and fired at will.
And Senate rises against casual labor in Nigeria. Hello and welcome to Inside the Senate. I'm your presenter, Firdausi Ahmad Wakili. Budget defense is still ongoing at the National Assembly. And so, on this episode of the program, we bring you details of interactions between committees and government agencies. We also have the report of a public hearing to amend some labor laws in Nigeria. Do stay tuned for the full details after this short break.
The Senate to send a message to the President
to reap opportunities from that.
To raise a matter of urgent public importance. And we are aware that when this particular motion comes up,
for a longer term development, arise to second the motion.
Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Welcome back. The Senate Committee on Defense continued its oversight of some of the military organizations under its supervision. This was on Monday, the 1st of November. The committee first visited the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, where they were received by Brigadier General M. Adamu on behalf of the Chief of Defense Intelligence. In a welcome address, the Chief of Defense Intelligence, Major General S.A. Adebayo, gave a brief of what the DIA stands for.
The DIA, fortunately, covers both local and international. That's to say, while the DSS covers local and NIA covers international, the DIA covers both, which means that it has the dual role of covering what the DSS does and what the NIA does. Unfortunately, it's the least funded of the three systems. It depends only on budgetary allocations.
The rest of the meeting was held behind closed doors due to security exigencies. The committee also visited the Defense Research and Development Bureau of Nigeria, DRDB. Senior officers of the Bureau welcomed committee members on behalf of the Director General, Air Vice Marshal U.P. Uzizi.
Ladies and gentlemen.
In a welcome address, Air Vice Marshal Uzizi said the Bureau requires legislative support to alter its present structure so that it can catch up with the achievements of sister agencies in other climes.
I must quickly mention that they are very modest, but that at the present, with the present structure that the Bureau has, the Bureau will not be able to accomplish what those other research institutions have accomplished. And the simple reason being that the structure that is required for the Bureau to conduct very robust research does not exist.
For security reasons, other deliberations were done behind closed doors. At the end of the meeting, the chairman in an interview promised action to resolve the problems identified.
We want to end this security across the entire nation. So we are interacting with all MDs and see what are their constraints and how can they be officially better performing than they are now, so that this matter can be put behind us.
Let's now take a short break for our notebook. Don't go away.
The gavel is a small wooden hammer used by the presiding officer during the Senate plenary or a Senate committee proceeding to announce the end of a deliberation or a debate.
Those against say nay. The nays have it.
The sound of the gavel marks the end of this discussion. It is so important that it is used by all legislatures around the world.
only way out of the pandemic is for the population to observe the recommended measures advised by the NCDC. The Senate Committees on Health and Primary Health Care and Communicable Diseases will continue to engage with the Federal Ministry of Health and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19.
The program is inside the Senate. Earlier, we took a report of the oversight by the Committee of Defense. Back in the National Assembly on Wednesday, the 3rd of November 2021, the Senate Committee on the Nigerian Army hosted the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, to budget defense. Let's get the reports on these and other meetings from our studio. Keep watching.
In an address, the committee chairman, Senator Alim Dume, commended the president for aiding the army who are involved in operations not conventional to them in virtually all states, even when Nigerians are looking up to them more than any security outfit.
Yet, they are handicapped by resources and equipments that they deploy. Having complained about severally on that, the president appropriately responded by presenting a supplementary budget to address those issues.
Responding, the Chief of Army Staff said following new dimensions in today's theaters of operation, the Army came up with new tactics which has led to successes in the battlefield, making terrorists to succumb to superior firepower and eventually surrendering. However, he said, the envelope system of budgeting is constituting an impediment to executing some of their objectives.
This therefore calls for a review of the subsisting envelope budget system, which over the years have been a major challenge in adequately funding the Nigerian Army for its constitutional roles.
In a highlight of the 2021 budget performance as at 31st of October, he disclosed the performance as follows. Personnel costs 78%, overhead costs 73%, capital expenditure 100%. For 2022, he said a total of 710 billion naira has been proposed, but was reduced by the Federal Ministry of Finance to 579 billion naira. He gave the effect of this reduction.
This reduction would impede the capacity and tempo of the Nigerian Army in carrying out its constitutional duties, particularly the ongoing war against Boko Haram terrorists and other criminalities across the country.
Due to security reasons, the rest of the meeting was held behind closed doors. In another room, the Auditor General of the Federation, Mr. Dofos Agugu, appeared before the Senate Public Accounts Committee to be audited on the performance of their 2021 budget. This was on Wednesday, the 3rd of November 2021. In an opening remark, the committee chairman acknowledged underfunding of the Office of the Auditor General.
It's a fact that the office is underfunded. And I just believe so that for any system, for any country that is serious about checking institutional corruption, ensuring that there is accountability, there's transparency, there's economy, spending public money. We know that the office is supposed to be enhanced by way of provision of funds to meet the challenges of personnel costs and other overhead costs.
In his submission, the Auditor General of the Federation, Mr. Dofos Agugu, presented the following as their 2021 budget performance. Personnel costs 2.4 billion naira appropriated with 1.9 billion naira released. Overhead costs 4.4 billion naira appropriated with 1.4 billion naira released. He then complained of being understaffed.
The existing establishment has depleted from 3,180 to barely 2,000.
He then gave the 2022 proposal as follows. Personnel cost 2.73 billion naira, overhead cost 4.16 billion naira, capital expenditure 2.74 billion naira, total 9.64 billion naira. The chairman and the committee member described the proposal as being too paltry and attributed it to lack of importance attached to the office, unlike in other clients where it is highly revered.
The office is taken for granted. The office of Auditor General for the Federation cannot be taken for granted. It provided for the Constitution. This is the office that checks corruption in our MDAs, in our commissions, in our courts, in our foreign missions.
At the end, the chairman promised legislative action on the submission with the main objective of more funding for the Office of the Auditor General.
The following day, Thursday, the 4th of November 2021, saw the Committee on Marine Transport hosting the Federal Ministry of Transportation, led by the Minister, Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi. In a welcome address, the committee chairman appealed to all the revenue-generating agencies under the ministry to improve on revenue generation.
Government needs more money, and these agencies under this Ministry of Transportation are seen to be one of the key government revenue generation agencies. And I want to urge you, on behalf of my colleagues, to redouble your efforts with a view to ensure that you increase your revenue generation efforts.
In a response, the minister gave the capital component of the 2022 budget proposal as 147.9 billion naira. He spoke on the aim.
The aims and objectives of these proposals are to make significant progress on all ongoing projects and to complete and deliver modern railway services that will provide an efficient and cost-effective alternative transport system.
He added that work has commenced on the following railway projects: Kano to Kaduna to link up with the Abuja to Kaduna rail line, survey and design for Ibadan to Minna to Abuja rail line, Kano to Maradi in Niger Republic rail line, and rehabilitation and reconstruction of Port Harcourt to Maiduguri narrow gauge line. The committee promised to peruse all presentations for more legislative action. Earlier on, the Committee on Works hosted the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. On the front burner of matters at the meeting was the delay in completing some major roads and bridges projects in Nigeria, like the Abuja to Kaduna to Zaria Kano Expressway, Lagos to Ibadan Expressway, as well as Second Niger Bridge. Committee Chairman Senator Muhammad Adam Aliru, who raised the matter, expressed concern on this, even with the remediation efforts of the federal government.
I read the brief you sent to us, which is contained in this booklet. I have seen that a number of certificates have been raised and they have not been paid. And we've been told that there is enough money by NSA to pay for all outstanding jobs done. Why should there be any delay on that?
Responding, the Minister Babatunde Raji Fashola blamed the delay on paucity of funds occasioned by the envelope system of budgeting.
What that does first is not enough, but it keeps the supply chain going. Because the construction industry is driven by the supply chain below it. Those who supply sand, those who operate quarries, those who supply reinforcement, those who supply lubricants. So even if you are owing 10 naira and you are able to pay 7 naira, the contractor continues. You create a credit system in the economy. It will be nice to pay up everything. But what must never happen is a shutdown between payment and supply.
Even then, he had earlier informed the committee that they have completed an aggregate of 816.29 kilometers of road as well as a total of 732.2 kilometers of bridge. On the 2021 budget performance, the minister disclosed the release for overhead costs as 365.7 million naira, representing 58.3% of the budgetary provision, leaving a balance of 261.2 million naira as at 22nd of August 2021. For 2022, the minister disclosed the total proposal as 450.9 billion naira for the ministry and its parastatals, with a breakdown as follows: capital expenditure for works and housing 382.8 billion naira, overhead cost 16.8 billion naira, and personnel cost 15.05 billion naira. Some committee members in their submissions made cases for the ministry's intervention for the fixing of some bad but very important roads in their constituencies.
The Shagamu-Ogijo Ikorodu Road has been an ongoing project for close to like 8 years now. A road that is probably less than 20 kilometers is yet to be completed. And if you go on this road during the rainy season, you'll be shocked what the people around that area, what they go through. It's a very viable alternative to the Lagos-Shagamu, to the Lagos-Shagamu-Ibadan and Benin Express Road. If you know what we go through, even to go from Lagos to Shagamu and Ijebu-Ode, now, sometimes you can spend 4 or 5 hours on the road before you get to Ijebu-Ode, coming from Lagos. And if this Ogijo, Shagamu, Ikorodu road is completed, it will be another route that people can pass through, and then it will take away a lot of pressure from the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
Just between Aba Road and One Junction, less than 20 kilometers. Will cost so less. But along this road, you have these assets. You have 2 refineries, 1 petrochemical company, the Federal Ocean and Water Terminal, the oil and gas free zone, the LNG you are talking about. If you don't pass through that section, you can't go to LNG. Then you have a fertilizer company. And on daily basis, more than 500 trucks move on that road per hour. I think that we have to look at it because of the assets, at least if not for anything, because of the assets we have that are close to that area.
The project from Tidin Nufawa, Kanya Baba, Barbara to Niger border. My problem is, last year, from the ministry, you allocated only 300 million, and this year, you proposed 400 million. On the job that costs 19.7 billion naira. During our budget defense, you promised that you are going to add more. I expected to see about 2 billion naira so that, I would push again. At least we join hands and work together. But still, it's not late. I appeal, Honorable Minister, we look after that.
Thereafter, the chairman ended the session with a promise.
We will do our very best to see what can be done in order to increase the budget of the Federal Ministry of Works.
Thanks for staying tuned to Inside the Senate. Last in our lineup this week is the report of a public hearing organized by the Committee on Labour to scrutinize and amend some labour-related bills, namely National Directorate of Employment NDE Act 2004 Amendment Bill 2021, sponsored by Senator Kabiru Barkia, Casualization of Workers Prohibition Bill 2021, sponsored by Senator Ayo Akinye-Luri, and Labour Act 2004 Amendment Bill 2021, sponsored by Senator Ezenwa Onyewuchi. Let's find out how the proceedings went in a report compiled and presented from our studio.
This public hearing is at the instance of the Committee on Labour.
Starting the hearing on Tuesday, the 26th of October 2021, the committee chairman described the labour sector as the mainstay of the Nigerian economy due to its human capital asset and contribution to the economy. Hence, the federal government's resolve to develop it in the last 4 years.
For the past 4 years, this administration has initiated several broad and sectoral policies with intention to harness Nigerians' potentials by a series of self-employment job opportunities schemes. This public hearing is to enable interested stakeholders review these bills and challenge the unspoken assumptions of the intents of the sponsors.
Sponsor of the National Directorate of Employment NDE bill stated that the dual role being played by the Minister of Labour as well as the chairman of the NDE board is what the bill is seeking to alter.
The amendment which I have proposed to the NDE Act is to create the position of a chairman for the board who will be appointed by President Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammad Buhari. I believe for an agency with direct impact on the larger informal society, there's need to keep up with the growing demands of governance by the organization of its administrative structure to fulfill their statutory public mandates.
The next bill, which is seeking to outlaw casual employment in Nigeria, was sponsored by Senator Ayo Akinye-Luri. He alleged that applicants, particularly graduates who due to their desperation having overstayed in the labor market, face exploitation by employers of labor who subject them to involuntary servitude by being casually employed, thereby reducing them to an unclassed status, even when their less qualified foreign counterparts are accorded permanent status with good pay. He cited an example of what casual staff, particularly females, go through with special reference to the banking sector.
More worrisome is the fact that on a daily basis, these workers are recruited at the gate and fired at will. In banking and insurance industries, for instance, many young graduates, particularly female, are employed as marketers and given unrealistic customer deposit ceiling target, running to millions. They are hired and fired at will when such unrealistic targets are not met. The female among them who are desperate in keeping their jobs turn to harlotry and sex slavery, moving from one office to another, looking for invisible customers who have stores of funds to enable them meet their targets.
For the Labour Act 2004 Amendment Bill, the sponsor, Senator Ezenwa Onyewuchi, said that it seeks to increase fines against employers that breach labour laws relating to wages payment, nature of employment, as well as contract of employment. Adding that the Act presently provides for a fine of only 800 naira for first offenders and 1,500 naira for second offender. He gave the proposals.
We are proposing 500,000 for first offenders and 1 million for subsequent offenses. Section 46, neglect or ill treatment of workers by employers. The present fine is 500 naira. The proposed fine is 500,000. Section 47, recruitment of employees without an employee's permit or recruiter's license. The present fine is 200 naira for first offense and 2,000 for second or subsequent offenses. The proposed fine is 500,000 and 1 million respectively. Section 53, inducement of apprentice to leave service of employment. The present fine is 500 naira for first offense and 200 for second or subsequent offenses. The proposed fine is 300,000 and 200,000 respectively.
Stakeholders, amongst them the Minister of Labour and Productivity, Senator Chris Ngige, were on ground to do justice to the bills concurrently. He expressed support for all of the three bills.
These three bills that are up here are among what we are going to validate. We already work on them, and the only one we have now to add is the provision of casualization. In the banking industry, it was discovered that most of the malpractices done in the banks were being done by the contract staff. Why? Because they did not feel secure. For me and for our ministry, we agreed that we are going to go into a kind of arrangement by which again we set up a committee that will deal with the issue of casualization vis-a-vis the labor contractors, which the oil companies, the banks, and even the telecom industry use in recruiting these people.
More stakeholders who made documentary presentations supported the bills, at the end of which the committee promised to compile the outcome to the Senate for more legislative action.
Next in our lineup is the profile segment. Stand by for our Senator of the Week.
Senator Muhammad Hassan Nasiha represents Zamfara Central Senatorial District. He holds a diploma in nursing and midwifery and was commissioner in 4 ministries in Zamfara State from 1999 to 2007. He was also senator in the 6th Senate and joined the 9th Senate through a Supreme Court ruling under PDP. He, however, recently decamped to APC and is now the Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Commerce and a member of other committees. His legislative interests include education, security, and agriculture.
Do you have an experience you would like to share with us and other Nigerians about the Nigerian legislature? Please, if yes, you may get across to us through our contact showing now on the screen. With these, we come to the end of this week's episode of the program. Join us again next week for another outing of Inside the Senate. Thanks for watching.